But when I think about it, the beginning of my career, look, I'm from Detroit, coming from 7 Mile, coming from the hood. I went to college, of course, had my years in college to kind of grow a little bit. But when I graduated and came into corporate, it really was a new world for me. And it took me a few years to figure things out because I was so much of a fish out of water and so much of my mindset wasn't built on corporate or career success. Now, I did have ambition from day one. From day one, I knew I wanted to grow. So that's sometimes where I said at the beginning of the show, where everyone, not maybe everyone, but a lot of us want to be somewhere, something, or someone different than we are today. And I definitely wanted to be something and someone different and somewhere different. But I wasn't necessarily prepared from day one to understand what that looked like. And I wasn't prepared to put my pride aside to learn from other people. And a lot of times what happens is we think like, hey, this is how we think where I'm from. And again, I ain't grew up in no corporate structure. And so I kind of had my own thinking about like what success should look like. But what it should look like and what it does look like is two different things, right? And so I remember this might have been let's say if this was year 7, right? It was about year 7 in my career. And I had maybe been promoted to maybe just like 2 times. I think I was only promoted like twice in the first 7 years, right? Which would mean I've had like 7 promotions in the last 11 years. And so I had a slow start to my career, and I'm not blaming nobody but myself. This gentleman pulled me aside, and he was an executive already. And I'll call him Mr. Green, right? And Mr. Green saw me walking in the office, and he pulled me aside because what I used to do is I would just go in and out. Like I worked hard. I produced numbers. I was a salesperson doing really well. One of the number one salespeople in the Michigan market in the area of the company I worked in. But I wasn't networking. I wasn't seeking sponsorship or mentors. I was just coming to work, working hard, and thought like, yeah, that should equal me getting a promotion, right? I remember he pulled me aside in his office, and I'll never forget this. I've seen him in the last couple years at a charity event, and I got to thank him for that too. So I'm happy about that. But he pulled me aside and he was like, "Look, man, like I see you coming in and out of here. Like I'm sure you work hard." And he told me he was like, hard work. That's not what gets you promoted. I was like, huh? He's like, yeah, you probably think your business like just doing good is what gets you promoted. And I remember being taken back, like, yeah, like that's what makes sense. And he was like, no. He's like, you need mentors, right? These guides to guide you. And he didn't, I'm sure he realized, I didn't realize that in that moment he was serving as a mentor for the moment, right? Because we only had this one conversation. He wasn't someone that I constantly met with. This was just someone, a older gentleman that saw me and maybe saw potential in me. I don't know what he saw, but he pulled me aside. And he said, you need mentors. Those are the people to guide you. Then you need sponsors. Those are the people that's willing to speak up on your behalf. And he was like, the work you're doing is maybe like 10% of it. It matters. You gotta do the work to be into consideration for the other things. But he was breaking down the percentages. He like, bro, like sponsorship might be 40%. And I was taken back because that was the first time I ever heard that in my life. And if I'm being real, it didn't make sense to me. But you know what? It didn't matter if it makes sense to me because he was telling me how things go. And I think for a lot of us, what we have to understand is things go a certain way in life.